to the Summerland Kids. The weather in Summerland today is it's always sunny in Philadelphia. I got to remember I'm a bad weatherman.
Let me guess, Jericho, 69 and sunny.
Yeah, is it sunny up there today and where you're at?
Oh, yeah, we got bright light first thing in the morning. It hits you right in the face.
Yeah, I forgot to look up the internet online. Just like my mind is like, I mean, the to-do list was, I kept moving Grandpa behind me, Bill Woggon. I'm done moving now, thankfully, so that part's done. But I feel like I really, because I not only had to move him to the home, which was pretty cool, moving Grandpa to the home bedroom office situation, but I had to move myself completely out of my own room, which is kind of a good feeling, just because now I know what I got, what I've been stashing in my room. And so I got that all in the shipping container, got a 20-foot cargo container. It's $100 a month. It's not a bad rate. They drop it off for $300, and then they include the pickup fee is included with that. So more or less $300 gets you started, and then it's $100 a month. I look at it in the short term. It's a good short-term solution, but if you're going to go long-term, definitely own it. Like my mom, I was telling Aaron just a bit ago about Dish Network. We're on satellite television because we're off the grid. I did the math. Mom's got 30 grand into Dish. Yeah, because she's been a member for 26 years with Dish Network, and I just did the math at $125 a month for 26 years. Dude, it's a serious cachet there.
It pays for all them rockets and satellites to go to outer space.
Dish members are just like, grandfathered in. I remember one time we realized that when my grandparents moved out and into assisted living, old Bill Woggon and his wife Jane, we moved them down to Thousand Oaks, and we realized that their phone, they had been renting a phone from GTE or one of those companies for like a long time for $8 a month or something. But dude, you could have bought that phone for $8. You didn't need to rent the phone. It's like, what the hell?
No, I mean, if you got halfway decent credit and can get your credit card payment for that storage container about $100 a month, after 2 years or whatever, you never have to pay again. And that's, if you own the property, it makes sense. If you're renting the property, it might not make sense because, hey, your landlord could say, oh, no, get it out of here. And they have to figure out to sell it or whatever.
Totally. So, dude, good come up yesterday on your, Aaron and I often talk about because, Aaron was 11 in 1982 and I was 12 or turned 12. And we love the State Arcade. We're talking about video games. So just putting that out there in the universe, there you go. Aaron manifests a game. So tell us about the game.
Oh, so I got a space gun. I'm always, antennas and my little spaciness. And yeah, we're talking video games and hot rods. And yeah, I'm just, I'm kind of lucky. I've saved some money and I don't really spend a lot on, things. And so the girlfriend gave me a little bit of leeway this last couple months. And I bought a couple things that I might be flipping, like my Dodge Ram Laramie. And I got the van, which...
Oh, yeah, the van. Yeah.
And then this thing shows up, and I'm like, oh, okay, everything stopped. I am going to go get a video game. I've always wanted a cabinet, a video game to be in the office, and I've never seen Space Gun. Of all the years I've been playing video games and going to the, video game museum in Las Vegas and little side laundromats where the pinball machines are, I've never seen this game. And now I own it, and it's like a little weird little oddball company. There's other space guns. I found out that there was the first one was like a Midway, I think. Um, and it was in like 1970, but this is a Toyota USA brand, and it's a 1990 machine. It's got like the quality of the guns. It feels like a carnival,
Right.
the carnival guns that you shoot. It's
Okay.
real heavy duty, and just the whole machine has got this cool look to it. A big CRT screen. And we plugged it in last night, and it went through and said error. So the guy I got it from said sometimes errors. Just plug it and just restart it, and restarted it. And the younger guy who comes and helps me, we got it running, and we plugged it in, and he had to leave at 10, but we got it running before he had to leave, so we got to run
That's killer.
around.
That's amazing. Yeah. So
headquarters, the back office at headquarters is really turning out.
Awesome. Because back in the day, I mean, kids these days, they may have not even seen a real stand-up game. I mean, they're kind of like you said. There's an app where you can find pinball machines out there, like a pinball locator app or something like that.
Yeah, there's two that I use: Pinball Maps and Pinside.
Nice.
And they're pretty accurate, because people join the website and they update it. Oh, I found one here, or they changed the game there. So they're usually pretty accurate, even to the games. Cool. Medieval Madness. If you're a pinball player, you've probably seen Medieval Madness. Is one of the most popular pinball games, and it's one of the funnest I've ever played.
That's amazing.
Things are coming along. There's always more things to do than there is time of the day. Right. So I've kind of made the decision I need to stop getting stuff.
There you go. That's good. I mean, it's the smalls are one thing. When you pick up a jar of trinkets, but pretty soon you're gonna have like jars upon jars.
Well, here's the thing. I've always been a motorhead kind of guy, not necessarily always have the best cars or the money to invest in a good car, but I could invest in these trinkets. And I've always loved going into these old hot rod guys' shops and seeing all the cool, things. Either they're a Chevy guy or a Ford guy or a sign guy, a gas station guy, and they just it's all over. And I just love having a trinket shelf of all, I showed you the other day with my action figures and everything.
And nowadays, the stuff that we are gravitated to, I believe, is mostly collectible. Because it catches our eye, and we know that it's from our childhood. So we kind of, coming up with a Summerland Pickers. So it's like.
Well, yeah, Summerland Pickers. I think that there really is something to that, because, like you're saying, you put it out in the universe. If you're from the Summerland or Summerland, you have this natural knowledge of the world because you experienced it. And I really love the post you had today about, keeping Peter Pan syndrome. And that is the key. All the great success stories are, that vigor, that enthusiasm of a child, and you carry that into your old age. And that's.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, whatever. Bonjour. I don't know French.
Sometimes it is challenging to, I guess at some point, you do realize, like, when I worked on cars, it was a bit of a hideout for guys, mostly guys. I mean, there's some incredible women in the industry, but the traditional old man hiding out in his shop, listening to the oldies station, and it's like you're in your own bubble world and I early on started to really like the old cars, and pretty much was like, hey, just put me on the old stuff. That's all I want to do. I don't want to work on Sally's Honda bumper. I love the Fast and the Furious and all that stuff, but there's a lot more history when you're working on a 67 Mustang or some old 1950s Corvette or something like that. So I myself kind of justified it, feeling like I was preserving the past for the future. And like an old jukebox or something, if you're restoring an old machine like your video game, you get it back in shape so someone in the future can enjoy this relic, if you will, so.
Oh yeah, and it's weird because I got this international box van. I'm like, oh great, a box van. I've always wanted a box van, a storage. But when I realized, hey, this is a cool international. These are collectible, and wow, this is the same. This truck was made the same year as Jericho was
1970,
made,
right?
and just to think, oh my gosh, this is 50s, 50 years old
right now.
This,
Probably it may be 54 this year. I mean, I'm sure it will be. That'll be the deal. 54 years old, man. That's a decent number.
yeah,
It's like it's half a century. It's a little over half a century old. I mean, that's kind of a thing.
yeah. And you see similar vehicles, the coffee truck, the food truck, or these box trucks, but you don't see many internationals.
And the price, thankfully you got it at a good price.
And
so you score it on the level, and it's all aluminum, or a lot of aluminum used in it, right, for the construction build of it.
yeah, it's technically is an international 1200, so it's got the 1200 motor and drivetrain and stuff, but it's a MA, so that's Metro aluminum. So there's a 1200, which is the truck, the 1200M, which is the Metro with the steel body, and then there's the 1200 MA. And yes, technically the 65 and earlier, like Aerosmith Metro, are definitely more collectible and cooler. You see them around $60,000-$70,000. But the fact that it's a 1970 makes it smog exempt, so I can put a hot rod motor in it. Me and my friend who wants to work on it, he's talking, oh yeah. I'm like, let's put some Corvette motor in it and big flat tires, and let's make this a street racer. So we pull up in the old jalopy van and say, you want to race for pinks? And blow away the Tesla truck. Wow!
So what's so it's not a that year of course it's probably a V8, right? Or is it a straight six? Or
the 1200 is a V8, yeah. So I guess the research that I found on the international is there is a V6, 2 or 3 different sizes, and then there's 2 or 3 different sizes of the V8. I think there's a 1200 and a 1400, and I'm not sure whether it's a 1600 or which one, but we figured out we're pretty sure it's a 338 cubic inch.
That's cool. Imagining international is kind of like John Deere, where they're like a super old school company, and they built stuff specifically for industry and commercial usage. International was not known as like a little, disposable vehicle. These things were made like built tough, built right, built in America, most likely, right? American made.
Yes, absolutely. And like, you see some of these box Ford aluminums and box Chevy, but there's not many of the box internationals. And I just kind of like the name. I feel like an international man of mystery because I have an international truck, Maybe I'll get some shag carpet inside and some disco lights.
And I bet, the car shows, I remember when I was going to car shows in the, like, let's say mid to late 80s, early 90s car shows, they had years that they were allowing into the shows. But I'm imagining now, like, they might bring the age up to like 1975 and lower, because like the smog exemption, that's a good, whatever year that smog exemption is, those are essentially all the cool cars underneath that year, Yeah,
it's really desirable because there's no computer to, malfunction. It's not all this stacked up where you got to pull the whole motor apart to change a filter.
Super easy.
And it's just cool old piece of history, even though it's not like ancient. It's not like a 50s or a Model T. It's still pretty cool, and I feel that it's my generation, our generation,
That's so. Maybe I'll send you the 8-track cassette player for it. Because I actually have a brand,
You know, I
new
really
8-track cassette player that goes in for the car.
when I scored that, I thought of you, Jericho, because I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
1970, and you know how you're saying if you do a car again, it'd be something you want to take your time and just
Yeah,
do
because it's so
without.
laborious.
And I thought, well, gosh, if I just bring this truck
Yeah.
over to Jericho and say, here's the keys, bro, happy birthday or something, then maybe one day
Yeah.
you'll let me drive it after
I
it's
like
finished.
your idea about on the aluminum, and you knew about that little swirly metal thing that they do, like polish little circles, and they create that effect.
Uh-huh.
Um, I may have screwed around with that a little bit, but I know it's kind of like you have to lay out a grid and then get those circles perfectly in the grid or overlap them perfectly to create a pattern.
I was thinking much more elaborate than just perfect circles. I was
Yeah, like
thinking
a
Jericho art. You do like a mobile giant billboard, maybe
right.
splashes of color and
Yeah,
swirls, big swirls and small swirls and
yeah,
some lines and maybe some pure polish. Just the
right.
contrast. I'm trying to wrap my mind about it. I just don't have. Always wish I had that artistic
Yeah,
ability, I guess. I mean, I'm okay at
yeah,
like sculpting,
right.
like with
That's cool.
clay, but to get, I've always found, people like you that can take a pen to paper or create the
Yeah,
nice ties or do nice paint on the cars. I just always thought, wow, these guys really got
yeah,
a talent, a skill that is so hard to even get kind of good, much less get up to a higher level or even be
right.
called a
Speaking
master.
of a talent, I got something to show you here. I'll wait for you to come back.
Oh, cool, cool. Let me get the cat.
Okay.
She wants to see too.
So here, this is an OG Black Sabbath cassette tape, and it's got like that shiny. You can see that shiny like action going on. And I pulled this out of the thrift store, and it's the very best of Black Sabbath. And the tape is actually kind of interesting because it's like, let's see, it says Team on it. It doesn't look like a normal cassette tape. It's kind of trippy. It looks like something someone almost made themselves, but it's factory made. And the band, this is it says formed in 1968 England. Ozzy Osbourne vocals, Terry Geezer Butler bass guitar, Tony Iommi lead guitar, Bill Ward drums, Ronnie James Dio vocals, um, Vinny Appice drums, Ian Gillian vocals, and Glenn Hughes vocals. So it's this band is this tape's actually pretty amazing. Um,
Yeah, so that's Ozzy
yeah, Black
Osbourne is
Sabbath
in
with
there.
Ozzy.
I got the Ozzy
Yeah, for
Osbourne
sure.
glasses.
So it's got the songs. It's got Paranoid, Changes, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, Never Say Die, Sweet Leaf, Neon Nights, I'm Going Insane, question mark radio, NIB, Lady Evil, Tomorrow's Dream, and then side B, Black Sabbath, War Pigs, Iron Man, Hard Road, Evil Woman, Don't Play Your Games with Me, The Mob Rules, Turn Up the Night, Trashed, and No Stranger to Love. So it looks like it spans the years 1970 all the way through 1986. So I definitely got a collectible here. I think I did.
Oh, absolutely. You might have a little bit of money in
Yeah,
your
exactly.
collectible stash if you
On
decided
the
to ever
Summerland
eBay them
Pickers
off.
angle, see if I can show you the band here, if you can see this. Kind of, let me see. Oh, yeah, there they are.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so just a freaking classic, man. Um, but stuff like this, and people, they're not aware. They just think, oh, a cassette tape. Who uses those anymore? Well, the young people are on it, man. Thankfully, and they're collecting them and bringing them back to just a unique, thing where you can still make a mixtape. If you got to find your old dual cassette freaking players and the whole deal to actually pull off your dual cassette to make your mixtape. And then I imagine those kids are having a little boombox action, little carry around boombox, or if they can find a Sony Walkman in the thrift store, So, anyways,
No, absolutely. My son is kind of into
oh, nice.
vinyl. I bought him a few vinyl records, and he's got a disc player and vinyl. Who would have thunk? That's pre-cassette.
Yeah, and the quality is actually not bad, and sort of like embracing that technology nowadays, where people like what is it, Jack White from the White Stripes. That guy's a freaking like history book, in his own mind and spirit. He's like laying down the old school riffs and trying to get that unique old sound out again, which is cool. So some people are tuned in. It's pretty awesome to see that the younger generation is plugged into what was cool and what was always cool to us, and thankfully they're grabbing it on and keeping it going forward. So that's good.
Yeah, it's as time changes, the old classics always seem to remain old classics.
For sure. And the disconnect is people that are a little older than us, they look at it as like, hey, I moved on, and a lot of people did move on. I mean, I never had an iPod, so I went from pretty much like, I guess, getting rid of or just putting away my CDs and tapes and records and just not even not doing it anymore, to now kind of picking it back up, and you have to reacquire the system. I don't have a working system right now. I do have in my truck. Thankfully, it has a cassette in a CD. My 1998 Chevy truck still. I can still play cassettes and CDs in my truck. But if you buy a new
that's awesome. I know that the high fidelity 1970s kind of stereo systems, those are still very valuable, and they still sound amazing.
Yeah,
with those
right?
remember the big speakers everyone had, and they just sound so there's something about it, even though the new technology, obviously I got my, I guess I'm a snob for JBL.
Yeah, no, that's cool though. I mean, it's amazing how the small speaker that packs a big punch, right?
Hell yeah, this thing's great. You press the button, it'll connect to your computer, to your phone, to your tablet, and you can play YouTube or download it, and just
it's pretty amazing. It's pretty awesome actually that nowadays it's like the shelves are empty because the computer has taken over, and it's just a small device that will do everything. Which is I love it. But
I got the devices right here.
Yeah, exactly.
I get
totally
running the music on this one, call, have a map going, and build a website all at the same time. Other than driving the car at the same time, of course, I don't do hands free.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought of. Do you remember? Did you ever go to those Santa Barbara fireworks shows? We're coming up on summer. Did you ever, when you were a kid, did you ever go see the fireworks down by the harbor? Do you remember that?
I know that my mom. I remember some of them. And then I moved up to San Luis Obispo and Pismo Beach.
Oh, dude.
They put on a show. People from Bakersfield, Fresno, people come from down south, up north.
Nice.
And it turns from a little town into a crazy traffic jam for miles.
Wow.
Every hotel booked for miles. And then there's the car show, the 4th of July fireworks.
Oh, nice.
And it's just wild right there in Pismo Beach. And
that's huge. That's cool to hear.
That's one of the things I always wanted to do because, cruise night, you cruise and they go to different towns for the car shows, and they have the shows. And I've always wanted to have a car that could show, but I've never had the money or time to invest in putting a car. But this old van.
No, I think you got something there, man. Because that's
I got to do is polish my turd. If I polish my turd shiny enough and get it running, then
no, but
be the shit.
These days, they actually want you to be faded. That's the thing. Is the faded and the more jacked up, the better these days. So,
like rat rods. You've seen some of those rat rods?
Yeah, totally.
Oh wow, and they're like what is that? Well, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that. And then
No.
they got like some sculpture, headpiece of a dragon or
Yeah.
some big wings or whatever. These artists are
Exactly.
amazing.
Totally. A friend of mine actually paid me one time to do a truck for him, and he sort of almost like predated the trend because he had me do it before it was really happening. I painted the truck like a light tan, like a light, let's call it a light coffee color, and then I sanded that lightly and put a darker coffee color over the top of that, and then sanded that a little bit off, so it made it look faded essentially. Like he wanted the hood faded, the fenders faded. He wanted it to look like he found it in a barn or out in a field, but it was a brand new paint job, but it was made to look like it was faded and dull. So that's what's up, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't decided whether I want to leave the space gun exactly how it is. Try and make it original, or just go crazy and like put a space art, glow in the dark paint, and customize it and just make it crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Chances are I'm just gonna leave it as it is and just play it.
Yeah, exactly. So we're getting close. We're 7 minutes in almost. We're getting there.
Nice. Okay, so did we have a sponsor of the day?
Well, it's sponsored by Jericho and Aaron Summerland Pickers.
Hey, if you really want some of the things that we share on the stream, definitely drop us a line. I mean, everything's got a price except for my soul.
Yeah, right.
But I will give them away for free. I've got extras here. If anyone needs a soul.
Right. Yeah. The flip flops. Yeah.
I got some flip flops. I got some sandals here. Definitely the only. My son made a video from school, and he sold his soul to Mr. DeVille, the devil from the deep south, and he had his Texas lawyer, who has no soul, if you know the joke.
Yeah.
Change the wording. Soul's a soul, right? A soul's a soul. Ended up selling his Kia Soul.
Wow.
And it was just the most funny little. He's just so creative, and he's in the movie industry and doing government promotion, not propaganda. We can't use that term, but he's making like movies for. I don't know. He did like Transitions, which is a mental health kind of group, and then I think he's done some. I can't mention the service, but military. Maybe Navy.
Yeah.
I'll put Navy.
Yeah, I mean they got to make videos for safety purposes, and hey guys, watch this video on how to do this job or whatever. So
yeah, I think the movie he did was a recruitment video for the recruiter's office about all the adventures you can go on in the military.
Yeah, exactly.
America's military is everywhere, so if you want to see the world and have a job,
yeah. Exactly.
That's an option for some. I know that some people don't have family or family businesses like you do with the comic strip and the art to fall back on. So, sometimes the military is a good option. They pay for school.
No, it's not. It's cool, man. It's a job. I mean, it gives people really like a foundation to work off of. It gives them like a good, I want to say, work ethic, leadership. I mean, there's a lot of good qualities that come out of that experience for a lot of people.
There's so many jobs, so you can get the education. You like mechanics, motor pool. You like a friend of mine was a lifeguard he was the guy that drove the colonel around, and when the colonel's on vacation, he drove the boat.
That's rad. Hell yeah, dude. Well, here's another. I think we're on episode 34. Episode 34 of Summerland Kids.
I didn't bring the coffee cup.
Woo! That's awesome. Yeah.
But I do got the Sierra Club thermal. It's so hot, I had to ice my coffee this morning.
Cheers to Sierra Club. Thank you guys for what you do, preserving Mother Nature. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, but Tigger's over there. He still says ta-ta for now.
Yeah.
He's hanging out in the forest.
Cheers to the Summerland Kids. Have a great afternoon. We love you. Good night. Good day. Woo!
Wait, as Truman says, if I don't see you later, good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and good night.
Yeah, exactly.